Good morning, and once again, Happy New Year to everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Tackle of BC Show. My name is Richard Walker. I am your host, and we are at it again on another beautiful Saturday. For those of us that are joining us via radio on KCAA 106.5, 102.5 FM, with Loma Linda, Riverside, California, the station that leaves no listener behind. Thank you for joining us. Also, a shout out to our good folks at Feed Us at 1580 The Fanatic. Thank you as well in the desert. And our crew at WCKG Chicago. Thank you also for tapping in. Wherever you are, wherever you may be, it is another great day to tackle obesity. So I want to start off with a thought today because we just passed a critical moment in the journey as people approach their New Year's resolutions. And yesterday was actually what's known as Failure Friday. And it is the unfortunate threshold where roughly 26% of people who make New Year's resolutions fail by the third Friday of the year. So think about that. Think about that. 26% of people have already failed and they've already quit their New Year's resolutions already. So for those of us that are still on track, this is a pivotal time because the next point, uh, the next touch point, I should say, is February 9th, which is about 2 days before the Super Bowl. And at that point, that's where roughly 34% of people have already failed their New Year's resolutions. So here's some key findings that I found about the whole concept of New Year's resolutions. So every year, roughly 38.5% of US adults set some type of New Year's resolution. This is the one that's very shocking and also very important. 59% of young adults aged 18 to 34 have a New Year's resolution, which means they are the largest demographic that sets goals. Of those who set New Year's resolutions, 48% people want to exercise more, making it the most popular New Year's resolution. And the top three New Year's resolutions are all health related. You starting to see a pattern here. And of those 23% that quit, most of them are within the first week. And only 36% make it past the February 9th mark that I just mentioned. So as we go throughout the year, the numbers continue to whittle off. And on average, roughly 9% of people successfully keep their New Year's resolutions. So think about that incredible statistic. You start off with a group of 100 people, and then only 9 make it to the finish line. And there's a very, very common reason for that. And it ties to a number of things that really boil down to motivation and how bad you want it and how much support that you incorporate into your New Year's resolution. Because to quote the famous, to recite the famous quote from Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until you're punched, right? And what that means is it sounds good to have a New Year's resolution. It sounds great to have a New Year's resolution. But what happens when life happens? What happens when you get busy? What happens when you get additional stress from work? What happens when you have to deal with children? What happens when financial situations occur? What happens when you have to more demand from work? What happens when you have additional stress or relationship problems, whatever the case may be? There are a number of contributors that contribute to your overall lifestyle change that come and go and that fluctuate. How do you deal with those adversities? And that's a significant part of whether or not you can be successful or if you fail on your New Year's resolution. One of the things that we know that we all have in common, regardless of who you are, is that you have what's called a flavor palette. And you are never going to change from your flavor palette. You can change the things that you consume, but largely speaking, your flavor palette will not change. And this is why it is so exciting to have our guests here today, Kevin and Valeria. And they have an amazing story talking about their journey to wellness. They both experience, issues with obesity and gaining weight. Valeria is a busy stay-at-home mom. She's got newborn, take care of family, and all the things that come with it. Of course, there's additional work around the house and having to deal with young children, and you just don't have the time to tend to yourself. So we're going to talk to her about that journey. And Kevin is a first responder. He's a police officer, and we know how demanding and stressful that job can be, and how having to deal with that is just really additional stress, and cause him to gain some weight. So we're gonna bring them on right now, and they are all they can be found on Instagram at Foodies Stay Fit. So at Foodies Stay Fit. So it's a pleasure to welcome Kevin and Valeria to the show today. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Great. Welcome to the Tackle Obesity Show.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we just want to start off by talking about your incredible journey to wellness. So can you just start off by telling our viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Back in 2021, I was roughly around 260, 270 pounds. And, it came on slowly. I was in law enforcement, and, prior to being in law enforcement, I was also heavy. And I decided, I was in construction, so I was like, I need to make a change. So I started losing weight, and I did it the quick and easy way. I did it the quick and, the fast way of basically starving yourself and eating, the salads every day, and, not knowing anything about nutrition. So I had a quick fix. I lost a lot of weight real quick. I got into the academy, became a police officer, and then work happens. You start working the long hours. You start sitting in your vehicle for a long time. You get the freedom of driving and stopping anywhere you like to eat, and you're sitting in the car eating. And little by little, you don't realize that you're putting on the weight. Couple years go by, and I'm like, man, my uniform is starting to feel a little bit tighter. The clothes isn't fitting. The vest I got to go a bigger size on the vest because it's not fitting me. You start feeling, miserable. You start feeling like you're tired all the time. And being in law enforcement, it's extremely critical to, be in the best shape that you could possibly be to help everybody, that needs you, that asks for the help or whatever the case may be. So, it was something that really impacted me because, your fellow officers see you, the public sees you. And, if you're in trouble and you see this overweight cop, asking for help, you're asking for help, and they see you coming in, they're going to be like, can this guy even handle, what I need or whatever it is, so that's, and it's a bad look, it's a bad image, you're representing the agency that you work for and everything. So it was definitely something that I had to change in myself, and in 2021, I started it in June, and, it started out slowly. It wasn't anything. I tried doing the way I did it before, and I realized that, this didn't work last time. Let me try to make it different. So I started just, watching videos. I started reading articles, and I'm like, okay, let me try to do it this way. And, little by little, you start to see a change. You start working out, you start eating, you still try to eat healthy, but not to the point where you're starving yourself. So, and that's where I started to learn, like, oh, right, the weight is coming off. I'm feeling good. I'm not hungry all the time. So that was one of the biggest things for me, was just, I wanted to do it the right way. I wanted this to be a long-term, I don't want to call it a diet, because it shouldn't be a diet. This is a lifestyle that we have created, and the correct way, not the stigma of eating, salads every day and starving yourself, and, not enjoying the foods that you like, here and there. So that was that was mainly the biggest thing for us, was trying to do it the correct way. And, it took me 2 years. In about 2 years or so, I lost over 100 pounds, and, I've kept it off. I've enjoyed myself. We've had our moments where, we're like, all right, let's go on vacation, and, and let's eat, but then your mindset changes. Your mindset is different from before, to where you're still motivated and you're still in it to work out, even though you still had those, I don't want to call it a setback, because it's not a setback. You're enjoying food. You're still living, your life. So I think that's the most important thing, is you're on a diet and you're creating this lifestyle for you, but at the same time, you're also enjoying the foods that you like in moderation.
Well, you touched on several, I think, critical things. Number one, for those of us that guys that have been following us in Huddle, we know that the word diet is a dirty word right here.
Oh yes, very.
Because it has the word die in it.
Yeah.
We call it die, DIE-IT, diet.
Exactly.
So we don't like to use the word diet, and you use the critical term lifestyle change, because that's what this is all about, is finding something that fits within your lifestyle. Exactly. In football terms, we call it finding something that fits within your system, with something that fits in within your playbook. So this is some critical information, and we're so grateful that you mentioned this. For those of you that are following us on social media, I forgot to mention, drop your questions in the chat. We'll get your questions up for them. If you have any questions for Kevin and Valerie, we'll definitely get them in front of them while we have them on here. So let's talk to you about you, Valeria. Tell us about your story.
So about 9 months into his journey, I started, seeing firsthand his changes, his progress, his dedication, his motivation. So that it was like a switch for me that turned on, and I said, okay, I'm watching him. It's my turn. We have 3 kids together. At the time, I had a 6-month-old girl who was my 3rd child. So, as a mom, we all know postpartum, you're not feeling your best. And I'm sure many moms can relate to me with that. So I said, you know what, I need to do something about it. My kids are now watching their dad, take a step for his health, do better. So what am I doing? I want them to be proud of their mom also, and make this the whole, both of us. So I started working out. I did it at home because I didn't have the time to go to the gym. I had a baby plus my 2 other kids. So we started building a home gym in our basement. We bought some fitness equipment. So I started following YouTube videos and some programs on YouTube, and we also worked out together. Sometimes I did it on my own. Mostly, I did it on my own because he would have to go to work. And together, we have been able to lose over 120 pounds.
Wow.
Then a few months after that, Kevin said, well, we had already had a routine of cooking healthy food, meal prepping. We had it going already for a few months. And Kevin said, you know what, why don't you record yourself and create this account and on Instagram and show people what you do. And I said, I double guessed. I was like, I'm not sure, people are not going to want to watch. They don't care about us. It's just another family, And I was like, but you know what? Let me give it a try. So I actually started posting on January of last year, 2023. And I started posting, recipes, all the foods that we have incorporated in our life that had made a change, that have helped us lose the weight. But also trying to teach people that, like you said, this is not a diet, and this is something that is going to be a lifestyle forever. So you don't want to make it boring. You want to make food interesting. You want to add flavor to it. Yes. So we started doing just that. And we just turned 1 year anniversary on both accounts, TikTok and Instagram, January 14th. And we've reached over 8 million people. So wow. We've been so blessed and just thankful, to have that platform. And I cannot believe, still to this day, I can't believe that it has grown to that extent. And our goal is to motivate families that are just like us. He works long hours. I'm a stay-at-home mom to 3 kids, 2 under 5, and it can get very, very busy, very hectic. But there's also time to make for yourself. It's good to incorporate that in your routine. So we said, with this account, we want to motivate families. We want to reach out to families and help them and show them that they can also get it done, just like we did.
So, this is a beautiful journey that you guys are on, but we know that whenever there's success, there's always, setbacks and things along the way. So, tell us about some of the challenges that you guys face on your journey to overcoming your weight problems.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the challenges is, like you said before, you're still going to have the cravings. You're still going to want to eat the foods that you enjoy. So, a lot of the setbacks, especially in the beginning, when you're losing, when you're trying to eat healthy, you're going to have those moments where you're going to be like, man, I really want ice cream, or I really want or whatever it is, whatever food makes you happy, whatever food it is of your choosing, it gets to a point where it almost eats you inside, because that's all you're thinking about. You'll eat your food, be full, but then it's like, man, I still see that Oreo over there. I still want to eat it. So that was one of the biggest challenges for us, because we're foodies. We enjoy eating. That is our biggest thing. Since we've been together, we love traveling just to eat. That's just what we do. So in the beginning, we would have these setbacks to where, okay, we'd go 2 or 3 months of eating right, eating nothing, not eating those happy foods like we call it. So we had moments of weakness, where we have 3 kids, so we have to buy these foods for them. We buy the snacks for them and all this stuff. So it gets to a point where I'm like, the temptation is real. The temptation, sometimes it wins, and it's okay, because we came to understanding that, like, if we eat an Oreo, or whatever food that we eat, that's not gonna really set you back anything. It's not gonna kill your diet. It's not gonna kill, the progress that you made. So that's, it's all in moderation. So we've learned to eat the foods eat the recipes that we make. And then on top of that, we'll have our little quote unquote cheat meal or cheat day, and eat those foods that we enjoy, because it's all about moderation. Like I said, it's all, you can incorporate all those foods that you enjoy while you're still living that healthy lifestyle. And we learn to, accept that.
I think another challenge is also managing time.
Yeah.
With kids and work and everything, all of that, it's very hard. It can be hard. But if you set yourself for success, for example, we love to meal prep. That's our thing. Mostly all of our recipes on our Instagram is meal prepping. So you're dedicating one day to meal prepping. You're setting up for success for the entire week. So that's already going to help you with time managing during the week. You don't have to worry about dinner.
Meal prep DIY taco kits. You're going to start by slicing a yellow onion, adding.
We focus on, time management is definitely a challenge, but it can be overcome, and you can make it happen. Also losing motivation, I think, is another challenge that we've had, especially, again, the 3 kids, the family, busy life. You can lose motivation very quickly.
Yeah, especially with me, the long hours. I can go a whole week of working 12 hours every single day, and you come home, you go to sleep, and who wants to wake up early to go work out? You set your alarm and you wake up and you're like, oh man, I don't feel like doing it today, and then you do it one day, and then you're like, man, all right, the next day I work another 12-hour shift, and then you go on a 3 or 4 day to where you don't work out or you don't do anything, and little by little you start losing your focus, you start losing that motivation and that drive that you had, and you have that setback. But then for me, I know for me, that's part of the journey. But I know for me, it came to a point where I was like, no, I'm not going to let this, hinder me. I'm not going to let this, basically stop me from, my goals. So there's a lot of challenges and sacrifices that you got to make in order to keep going. And it comes with time. It comes with time. It's not easy. There's gonna be days where you just don't feel like doing anything, and it's okay. Just take that day, get a mental break, and then start strong the next day.
So along this journey, and you guys are in a great situation. You have each other there for support. Of course, you have the kids there. As you mentioned, Valerie, is sort of a source of inspiration. But for some of us, we depending on who we are, we may not have that type of structure, right? So how critical was it for you to have some sort of support or coaching, or were there any other type of sources that you use outside of each other that you use for accountability?
So it's extremely critical, I would say, to have that support. Like I said, outside of each other, I would say watching the YouTube videos, watching these fitness programs, even though the person was behind a screen, but just having that person there to push you, to give you guidance on a specific program, I think that's, extremely critical, and it's necessary. Also, they motivate you. Even like I said, even though they're behind a screen, come on, let's do it. Let's get it done. It's all motivation. So it's, to me, that's like, you need that. You need to have that someone there, pushing you. Also, friends and coworkers for us have been a great motivation, a great support. Every time they see us, they're like, wow, you guys look great. That in itself is a great support, so I think it's extremely critical for sure.
Yeah. I mean, our families, even though we live far away from them, so, we don't get to see them often. So when they do see us, a couple months later, or whatever the case may be, having, just seeing their face light up when they see you, you're lighter, or, the way you look, the way you portray yourself because you feel better about yourself, it's that support is just so important, because it's like, it just clicks in your head, like, man, this is really working, people are noticing, and then like, it gives you that extra boost to keep going. I know for me specifically, in my job, there could be times where I don't see certain coworkers for, long periods of time, months can go by and I don't see them. And then you see them and they're like, dude, what are you like? What did you do? You look great. Like, how can I do it? So, and then they start following our page and start seeing what we did. And that is just so motivating. And it's such a great support, for me, just to hear that, it's just so uplifting, and it's great. It's extremely, extremely important to just have that person, not even just not her, the kids, supporting you, you need that. It's very critical.
Absolutely, Kev. You kind of touched on, your coworkers, being sort of a source of inspiration for you. As a police officer, can you talk to us about like how critical it is managing your way to your career? Like, what are some of the challenges that you face when you gain that weight as an officer?
Yeah, of course. I mentioned it before with like the first and foremost for me was the uniform. Little by little, your uniform starts to get a little tighter, and I'm like, oh man, what's going on here? So that was one of the biggest things for me, is the way I look, the way I feel in the uniform is like, I didn't feel right. I didn't feel good. I didn't look good. I didn't want to, basically, I didn't even want to get it out of my car and do anything. And it's bad. It's not a good look. It's not good for the community, for anywhere you are. So for me, it was really hard. There was moments of weakness. There was moments of anxiety, of depression, where I would go to work and I wouldn't even want to be there because I didn't want to be seen. And you're the public eye, everybody looks at you. Everybody sees you. You can, and especially when I'm getting in and bar, it becomes difficult. And I was 270 pounds. So we do quarterly, like, shoot our guns every quarter to stay qualified.
Mhm.
And people don't realize, with being so overweight, just the little movement of you trying to take your weapon out, change your magazine, get on your knees, it becomes really difficult, especially when it's a timed event, and you're failing because you can't even get up from the ground because you're so heavy, or you can't take your weapon out because your stomach's, because you're just big, your stomach's in the way, or I've had those challenges, and it's embarrassing, because there's people looking at you, the instructors are looking at you, everybody's looking at you, and it's embarrassing. So that was one of the biggest things for me. I would wake up in the morning and not even want to go to work or put on the uniform. And I knew I had to make a change, but it just became really difficult because of the long hours, and then coming home and, deal with the kids and feeding the kids and, just life happening. So being in law enforcement and being the public, being in the public view, it was just, it was an eye opener for me. It was an eye opener, especially there's multiple like jobs in the law enforcement community, in our agency. There's other things that I can branch out into, and I couldn't do any of it because I was so overweight, and I couldn't.
It actually limited your career to something.
Yeah, exactly. It was
limited.
I was very limited. I was limited to sitting down in one spot. Things that I wanted to do, I couldn't, because I couldn't, pass the test. So that was the biggest thing. That was one of the biggest challenges for me. And that's why I made, that decision to start focusing on myself and, getting healthier, getting better, and basically living better.
Wow. We have a question here from it's me, Krista. My partner is a bit overweight. I am thinking of menus I can prepare for him to help in his weight management. Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah. So if you go on our page at Foodies Stay Fit on TikTok or Instagram, I post weekly meal preps. That's mainly what I focus on, and I also post a bunch of healthy recipes. Some even easy ones, some a little bit, intermediate. But almost every day I'm posting new things of recipes that have worked for us. Things that we have tried and we're like, okay, this tastes amazing. It's worked for us over time. So let me share it. So definitely check us out, because there's a lot of good ones that I have out there. And most of them are easy because, as a mom of 3, I don't have time to, have a full, menu or something hard. No, I don't have the time. So I have to make easy recipes that can be done by everyone, and you don't have to be a chef. You don't have to be an expert at cooking, because I never went to school for that or anything. I just did it on my own. So you can too. So definitely check us out on our platforms.
I can attest that the taco, the do-it-yourself taco prep.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that is my favorite by far.
Yes.
I was saying that tacos make the world a better place. And
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah, we love tacos.
Oh yes.
and it's healthy. And this, like you mentioned, like we both mentioned, you're not depriving yourself, you're not starving yourself, you're not punishing yourself. You're finding something that fits into your game plan. You are who you are. Find something that works in your game plan. Exactly. We know that the big game is coming up today. A lot of teams are playing today. Those coaches are right now saying, okay, we got a star running back, our quarterback, or our wide receivers, so we're going to run the ball. Why are you trying to throw it? Run the ball. Same mindset goes towards this.
Right.
This is who I am. This is who I like. Let me find a way to do it efficiently so I'm not harming myself, but this is what I love. I love tacos. I will eat tacos, but I'm not going to eat tacos to the point to where it harms me. So
exactly.
Right.
I definitely recommend. Definitely check them out on Instagram and TikTok, and you guys have some amazing, incredible videos on there. Got another question here. Yeah, following your Instagram. Thank you. It helps a lot. My meal preps are difficult to think every day. Thanks for videos. Okay.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you for following us. Yeah.
Yes. So for those of you that are tuned into us on KCAA 106.5, 102.5, and 1580 Fanatic, we're going to take a real quick break. We'll come back. The rest of us stay tuned. To stay on here. No, we're not going anywhere. It's just time for a commercial break. We got to pay bills, but we'll come right back. So for those of us that are live, we're going to keep the show going. So want to talk to you, Valerie, about, being a busy mom. And you kind of touched on this, but, you had the balance of handling duties at the house. You take care of the family. You take care of Kevin. You take care of everything. You got all these things going on. You have, of course, postnatal. How do you deal with all that? How do you balance all that and at the same time still find the ability and the motivation and the time to take care of?
Right. So my biggest thing for me is time management. I found that I needed to set a routine that worked for me. And not everyone's routine is going to be the same. So I said to myself, I need to plan my day. So I went out and bought a planner, a calendar. And that's what I do every day. Sometimes I do a week worth. So I go out, I plan my full day. In time slots, this is what I'm going to do from this time to this time. I dedicate the time to my kids when they need it. When they're napping or they're in school, that's when I take at least 30 minutes a day for self-care, meaning, my workouts, whatever I need to do for myself, because it is so important as a mom to take time for yourself, because you are just as important as the rest. And sometimes moms, we want to do everything for everyone else, and we don't look back and, okay, what about us? No, we need to take time for ourselves. So I always try to incorporate at least 30 minutes a day to work out. And that's where I found that's my outlet, working out. That's where I found that I was able to release all my stress and, everything that came with it. I set up a routine that works for me. Some days I wake up earlier than my kids to work out. Other days when they go to bed, that's my time to work out. Or like I said, if they're in school napping, that's, my time. So definitely time management is a huge one. Definitely also involving the kids in some activities. There's days where they don't have to go to school. So you know what? The 30 minutes that I'm going to work out, bring them, have them be part of it. We've also done that a lot during the summer days outside. We'll go out on a walk with them, or we'll do some kind of physical activity outside that involves the kids. So it makes it a little bit easier. And, and just the thought of them watching you, them, learning that from you, it feels great. It feels amazing. So, yeah, so I think that's definitely a way to do it. Don't get me wrong. There's days that are extremely hard. There's days where I wake up and one of my kids is sick, so I can't take 30 minutes that day, and it's totally fine. The next day, you'll just, start all over again. It's totally okay to have a setback. As a mom, it's just life throws things at you daily that you're not expecting. But yeah, that's definitely how I do it.
You touched on something very critical here, because especially with our young folks lead by example. And you guys are setting an amazing example for your children, because the unspoken crisis that we have in America right now is the youth obesity epidemic. Right now, statistically speaking, about 40% of our children are either in a state of being overweight or obese.
Yep.
And we're starting to see that trend roll downhill in several areas in society. I know several NFL recruiters and NCAA recruiters who say that they are having trouble going to the lower levels to find athletes because they're not there. We have college football scouts now going to high school baseball and basketball games to try to find players that they can convert into football players, because there are not enough talented players in the pool. We spoke to a 2-star general last year who said that the military is experiencing millions and millions of dollars more in recruiting costs, because 60% of the candidates that they recruit can't get to boot camp because they're obese.
Wow.
And also he said that they are re-engineering the cockpit of an F-14 because the pilots were too big.
Wow.
So they have to adjust, to compensate for larger soldiers, larger airmen, larger sailors. And he said, literally, this is his words, it is a threat to our national security.
Yeah.
Wow.
So the fact that we have, someone like yourself who's focused on, not only yourself, but sending the right message to your children is significant for us. And we need to pass that along to all the moms and dads out there. It is important to make sure that you manage your child's weight, teach them how to eat the right foods, because there are a lot of things out there that are very tasty and tempting to them.
Yeah.
And worldwide, some of the countries don't have the issues that we have because they don't allow it. Like UK, for example, some of the candies that we can easily go get off the shelf at a gas station or a corner store or convenience store, they're not even allowed over there. And if they are, they're behind the counter with cigarettes with warning labels, because they know about the impact that these things have on people. We also have a comment here. Let's see here. Okay. Our military and police have the same problem. Kev, can you speak on that, please?
Yeah, I mean, in my agency, speaking for, and from experience from my own agency, there's a lot of people that were in my shoes that are still in my shoes, back when I was 270. And, our jobs, it's almost like it's almost like all the employers are almost accommodating and, trying to change with the times of the obesity, like you said, where they got to make the cockpits bigger. That's happening all over, where, like I mentioned before with the PT test, we got to take it every 3 months. And it's gotten to the point with us where they don't even have to, there's certain, like people and stuff like that don't even need to take the PT test, because if you look at agencies worldwide, if you make these officers or military take a PT test, we would probably lose more than 50% of our workers, of our co-workers, because they can't pass the test.
Wow.
And that's everywhere. You look at every agency out there, there are so many obese officers, military, and then you look at the high ranks. The high ranks are no different. They're the same thing. They are also obese. So what kind of example are they setting? If you want your fellow officers, that are under you, if you want to set that example, you got to lead by example. So when you see a higher up that can't fit in their uniform, and then they're telling you, oh, you got to go take a PT test, knowing well that they can't pass it, it's like, come on, why should I listen to you? Yeah, obviously I'm going to listen to you because you're my superior, but what motivation or what drive is that going to want me to do it? Like, nothing happened to you and you're obese, so why should I worry about it? Right. You're not going to get fired, so why should I care? So that's the problem that a lot of these agencies are having, including, our agency. It's extremely, it's hard. It's difficult. I get it that, right now times are tough, with everything going on in the world, and people have their own comments and everything about what's happening. Us officers, like, there's times where, not that you're scared, but you're going to think twice about stepping into, a certain place, even out of uniform. You don't feel right. It's like, I don't know.
Safety.
Yeah. I mean, the safety aspect of it, like, there's so much going on right now in the world that there's people that they don't care about the way they look. They don't care about how they feel. They just rather sit in their vehicles, eat their food in their vehicles, not help the public of whatever. I've seen it firsthand where people just drive by and not want to deal with it because they don't fit, like they don't feel like they can handle it for whatever it is. If they see somebody running, they're not going to get out. I mean, it's sad to say, but they're not going to get out and do it because they know they're not going to. They're not going to keep up. They're going to look, embarrassed basically because people are going to be looking at them and not be able to catch up or stay. Basically, you're going to lose your energy and just kind of fall out. So it's something that needs to change. And I pray and I hope that, my fellow officers see the changes that I've made, and then they can make the same changes and motivate them to do it. And even people that are listening, to do, this is for your health. This isn't for anybody else but yourself. It's very important.
Every avalanche for change starts as a snowball, and that's what you guys are. So don't underestimate the impact of what you're doing, because you have already made a significant impact. I don't know if you know that or not. It needs to be said.
Thank you.
So another question here, Val, as a mom, how do you keep your kids from eating foods that make them fat? This is a good one.
Yeah.
Well, it's very hard because we have our two boys are very picky. Our girl, she eats whatever I put in front of her, but the boys are very picky. So it's hard to keep them from those type of foods. I'm going to be honest. There's days that I give it to them because they won't eat nothing else. Especially my middle child. He's a 4-year-old, very stubborn, very to his ways and only what he wants. So there's days that I just give them, what they like. But I can say that them watching us eat healthy has definitely made a huge impact on our oldest son. He's 8 years old, and he has been our pickiest since day one. I mean, this kid can't even be around any veggie. It's that bad. And recently, I want to say a few months, right? We've started to notice that he's more willing to try new things, and he's looking up to us, and they see what we eat daily. And for example, the other day we went out to eat to a restaurant, and he tried blackberries for the first time, which I was like, I don't know, he's gonna like it, and he loved it. He completely loved it. He had normally he's a chicken nugget kid, but this time around he had chicken thighs, or it was something like that, and he loved it. So we're starting to see these things now trickle down to them. So it's because now they want to try the food that we're eating. So it has definitely made a change in our kids' lives, and we hope to keep doing it with our youngest. So yeah, it can be hard as a mom, especially if you have picky ones at home. But just keep trying, even just introducing the new foods to them, and letting them. You want to try it off of my fork or off my plate? I don't care. As long as they try it, later on, they're gonna be more willing to it because they see you eating it every day. So just setting that example is so important. That's what we try to do with our kids.
Yeah, and I'd like to add that we buy the chocolate spreads and all that stuff, and they love it. But the ways that we made it a little healthier per se is we buy everything sugar free. So we buy the syrups sugar free. We buy the maple syrup sugar free. We buy the Nutella sugar free. So sometimes they'll realize it because it doesn't taste the same. But then you just keep buying it, and eventually that's all. When they don't have the option of going for the sugar free or not the sugar free, they're gonna end up just eating what you give them. So that's how we've incorporated, healthier versions of it. Just buying everything sugar free, the cookies, everything that we buy, we try to get it so that it's just a little bit less, I guess, a little changes here and there of sugar free or what else is there, like
everything, just healthier options.
Basically healthier option of everything that they enjoy. Just try to buy it healthier, or I just make it myself and see if I can make it healthier.
That's another thing that I was going to say. We also try to make them a lot of stuff ourselves, and just sneaking things, ingredients that they might know about. For example, my middle child loves smoothies, So and he doesn't watch me make it. He just says, "Mama, make me a smoothie." So I throw everything in there: avocado, spinach. He doesn't even know it, and he loves it. He drinks it, and he is the happiest kid on earth.
Yeah.
But doing little things like that, changing ingredients here and there, is gonna make a difference in the long run.
Yeah.
These are the critical plays that you make and incorporate into the playbook, because we know that Sugar is first team All Pro player, team depth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Doesn't get the notoriety that it should, but Sugar is bad. It is great that you guys understand that, and you're working against that. So that's again another critical point that you made.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about sustainability, which I don't know if you guys caught my opening monologue or opening rant, whatever you want to call it, but 29% of people right now have already failed in their New Year's resolution. Yesterday was what they call "quote unquote" Failure Friday, and this is the first significant point of the year, the first notable moment in the year where there are a lot of people that quit their New Year's resolution. So 29% of New Year's resolutions gone already.
Wow.
So how do you focus on maintaining and sustaining your lifestyle?
I think our main thing is, again, going back to the diet, making it fun, making it tasty. Because in reality, you're not going to eat bland broccoli and bland chicken for the rest of your life. That's something that's not going to last in the long run. So you have to make the healthier foods that you're eating, make it fun. Make them fun, make them tasty, make them something that you're looking forward to eating. For example, some of the meal preps that I cook, I make it so that it's the foods that we already loved even before our fitness journey. So we're just incorporating healthier ingredients. And that way, we're still like, okay, we're still eating the foods that we love. So it's not boring. And I feel like that's a great way to make it last longer, to make it a lifestyle, which is our biggest thing.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the biggest things for us. Like, I love desserts, I love the sweets. So for me was, how do I still eat those foods, but healthy, So I would find inspiration from, videos or on TV, or when we go out, I'm like, all right, how can I change this cookie healthy? So I started changing the ingredients. I would, instead of flour or instead of something unhealthy, I would use pumpkin puree. I would use maple syrup. I would use oats, and I'm like, okay, it's all about substitutions. If it asks, if you're looking at a recipe and it says add, full fat cottage cheese or Greek yogurt, I would substitute for fat-free Greek yogurt. If it asks for flour, I would substitute flour for, pumpkin puree, smashed banana, oats. I would crush oats. I would use almond flour. I would try to change the ingredients that are involved and try to make it. I would try to use ingredients that are healthy. I would use the monk fruit instead of sugar. So those are the ways that we've incorporated in our diet and still enjoy the food. Like I would make donuts out of pumpkin puree. I would make cookbooks. So that's how we've made it to make it last. Because you're still enjoying the foods that you like, with healthier, healthier versions of it.
Always be prepared. And this is a great point that you just made. Another question comes up. What has been your experience as an influencer, and does it push you to do better?
That's a great question. Definitely my followers have been a huge support. I would have never thought that, that starting this community would have been make such a great impact in my life. Every comment, every private message, every like, every share that we get from our followers is a huge, tremendous push for us, support. So definitely is something that has helped us. It's definitely is. it keeps us motivated, it keeps us going, because we have all these people, all their eyes on us.
Yeah.
So we have to lead by example, you
Yeah.
know. They're watching us. So now I have all these moms that, you know, send me private messages and say, Val, you are a great inspiration to us. Like, now I've started to work out. I want to get my husband into it now because I see you and your husband doing it. So all of these little comments have made a huge difference. I mean, in my journey, in our journey. It's great support to have. And I thank every single one of them because, you know, it's people that I've never met, but to me, they're like some of the closest friends because we're always constantly, you know, messaging each other and uplifting each other. So it's definitely a great way to build that support.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we talked a great deal and in great detail about what to eat. What about what to drink? So talk to us about hydration and, like, you know, how do you hydrate? What do you drink? And, like, how important is hydration?
Yeah. I mean, I've always drank a lot of water.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's something that I've always done it. So I didn't really have to change much on my drinking habits because water was always incorporated on my daily, you know, life. The only thing that really has changed is the amount that I drink.
Mm-hmm.
I drink so much water. I mean, I'm drinking over maybe 110 ounces of water or so. I go through water like crazy here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm constantly in the bathroom, but at the same time, that's good because you're flushing out all the toxins and all that stuff through your system. So hydration for us is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, one of the changes that I've made was when I'm eating dinner or when I'm eating whatever food, I would tell myself, okay, with every, it's crazy because I don't know why I do this, but it's just me. For every 3 or 4 bites, I'm going to take a sip of water. And it's crazy because I got so full from eating and the water. Like, I was so full for hours just because I was just drinking more water, you know, with my dinner. So hydrating with water is so important. Another change that I made was I would buy these, what are they? Like carbonated drinks, like carbonated waters, like flavored water drinks.
Like the 0 calories seltzer.
Yeah. 0 calorie drinks.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that I did because, you know, time to time you want to enjoy, you know, a sweet drink, a carbonated drink, you know, a soda. So this was a good substitution for that. You know, I would buy, you know, a whole bunch of carbonated 0 calorie drinks. And it took that craving away from that, you know, wanting to drink something different other than water. So just making that little change in those drinks.
Yeah, and drinking water is also essential for physical performance. So you don't want to be dehydrated. That's one thing. Oh, that feeling is probably the worst.
Yeah.
So just drinking enough water is going to give you the energy. It's going to help you to, you know, to feel better that day.
Yeah.
And it's also great for your skin, for the ladies.
Absolutely. So we talked about failure. I've been ranting about the statistics involved with people failing on their New Year's resolutions, and there are people that along the way who start and end, you know, journeys, but for one reason or another at interval points throughout the year. So, what are some of the most common reasons why you think that people fail, and how can we avoid that?
I think, yeah, some of the most common ones are depriving yourself from foods. In the very beginning, when we didn't know much of what we were doing, we just know that, you know, we wanted to lose the weight, shed the pounds. That's all you're focused on. And you're like, okay, today I'm only going to eat certain foods, and depriving yourself from foods because you want to, you know, just lose the weight fast. And I think that's one thing that's, you know, not good, not okay. You definitely need to eat. Your body needs it. So I think that's something that can set people up for failure, you know, eating like that.
Basically, yeah. I mean, and also, like, you know, everything now, the diet industry and the supplement industry is so massive. You know, that people, you know, they see a commercial of, oh, take this pill and shed 30 pounds and, you know, whatever time it is. But people don't, you know, realize that like maybe those things might help, but at the same, you got to put the work in, you know, so you got to go work out. You have to put that time in, you know, you don't read the little letters on the bottom, you know, that say it includes an hour of working out every day with the pills. And then at the end of the day, the pills aren't really doing anything because you're the one putting in the work. Yeah. So the people fail, you know, by thinking that a pill is going to resolve the issue and you can eat whatever you want and not do anything. And this little pill is going to help, you know,
or not eating enough.
or not eating enough. You know, people think, oh, all right, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to not eat. I'm going to not eat. I'm going to lose 30 pounds in a month by starving myself, basically, you know. And a good example of it is, if my mom's listening, is my mom, you know, you know, she, after like a year or so, she saw that I was losing weight. She's like, man, how'd you do it? You know, like, what can I do? So I'm like, all right, let's make a plan and I can show you everything, how I did it. And let's see if it works for you. So she started, you know, she started doing what I told her. She started eating right, kinda. She started working out every day and she lost a lot of weight. And I told her, I'm like, Ma, you're doing really good. Like, you're losing weight. And then little did I know is that then she was basically starving herself. She's like, I'm like, oh, Ma, what did you eat today? Oh, you know, I just had an apple and a yogurt this morning and I haven't eaten and it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like, Ma, you don't realize that you are depriving yourself. You know, your body needs the nutrients. Right now, your body's eating itself, you know? So, and then the reason why I say, you know, I hope she's not listening or is listening is because, you know, it's been like 2 months or 3 months where she had life happened. She has a setback. She stops working out, you know, for a couple of days, and a couple of days turns into a couple of weeks. And then it turns into a couple of months that she gained everything back and then some, you know, because it wasn't sustainable. Yeah. You know, she was depriving herself of the food and starving herself. And after I found out that that's what she was doing, I'm like, you cannot be doing this. You need to eat. So when she would come over on the times that she would, you know, I would forcefully feed her food, you know, so that she's like, oh no, this is too much. I can't eat this much. I'm like, Ma, you don't realize that when you're eating healthy, you know, when you're eating what you're supposed to eat, you can eat more than than the other foods that you're eating, you know, because if you put it in perspective, if you're eating, let's say, McDonald's for dinner, you have your burger, you have your fries and everything, and that in itself has 2,000 calories. I eat 2,000 calories in a day, and it's way more food than that one cheeseburger and that one fry. Yeah. And she didn't realize that, you know, she was thinking to herself, I cannot eat this. This is too much food. I'm like, Ma, do you realize this is like 500 calories? This is nothing. You know, this is a lot of food because it's good food, you know, food that's going to keep you full longer. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons why people fail. You know, it's thinking that they can just eat a salad and all day, every day, and thinking that that's what's going to help them lose weight. But that's not realistic. That's not a long-term thing that you can do every day. You're gonna get tired of it. You're gonna get bored of it, you know, and it's gonna get to a point where you're gonna be like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. So I think that's one of the biggest reasons why, you know, people fail. Yeah.
Excellent information there, because food is fuel. Yep. And the better fuel you use, the better fuel economy you get. Exactly. There's a reason why you should keep your tank full in your car versus letting it get down to E and you put a few bucks in there and then you drive it and you keep constantly refueling it, because you get better fuel efficiency when you keep your tank full with the right type of fuel. Exactly. So this is amazing information, and we are so glad to have you. We have a saying around here: the first time you're a guest, the second time you're family. So at this point, you're no longer a guest. We do look forward to having you guys with us, and there are so many amazing things that we are going to do together. We're excited to have you on the Tackle Obesity team as our teammates. This is a team effort. We all have to fight together in this battle against obesity, regardless of where you are or where you may be. We are all teammates in the journey against obesity, and we're looking forward to having you join us in tackling obesity. Make sure that you, first of all, check out Kelvin and Val. Give them your Instagram handle or your social media. How can they contact?
So our handle is foodies.stay.fit. So yeah, check us out on TikTok and Instagram.
Foodies.stay.fit.
Yep.
Yes.
Foodies.stay.fit.
Mm-hmm.
I love the t-shirts, by the way. Kind of fit, kind of fat. That's hilarious.
That definitely describes us.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If you have not done so, for those of you listening, subscribe to us. We're on every podcast platform on the planet Earth. Pick your favorite one, pick them all. Subscribe, download this episode, download all our episodes. We're here every Saturday. If you can't catch us there, you can catch us on the podcast platforms. Make sure that you follow the Foodies on their social media, and also make sure that you visit the Tackle Obesity website, tackleobesity.com. That's tackleobesity.com. You have the opportunity to be coached by an NFL alumni for free. All you have to do is sign up at tackleobesity.com. You don't have to pick me. You can pick one of the other coaches. We're there to help keep you on track and get you toward your goal. Again, we are working together as a team to tackle obesity. Thank you again for joining us today. My name is Coach Walker, and we are out. Have a great weekend. Let's go, team.
Thank you.